So I have no listings. What should I actually be posting as an agent? Now, this is a very common question that I hear in all the marketing classes that I teach. My name is Andrew Manchero. I'm the CEO and founder of Digital World Connections, and we're a digital marketing firm that helps several realtors in the whole advertising space with social media, branding, marketing, and lead generation. And a common question that I always get asked in all the hundreds of classes that I've taught is that what should you be posting besides property content? Now, there's no assumption that every single agent will always have a pipeline, which means they may not always have listings. So, what do you even post, right? Now, this is a common question that I usually get. And I want to start off by saying that if you're in a position where you don't have listings, you should be doing more marketing in the first place, okay? I hear a lot of people really get confused on that. They think that marketing is always just exposure, but that's not the reason why you should be doing it. You should be doing it to make more money. Okay, now what comes along with that is exposure, the brand recall, all the good side effects. But if you don't have listings, you got to get going more with your marketing. And a lot of people think they should just be posting for the sake of the algorithm or actually post to post. That's not going to help, okay? Because at the end of the day, the algorithm is going to change. It's not really in our control. What is in our control is our ability to do postings more frequently and the ability to post about anything we'd like to post. So it's all about staying on top of mind on the people that actually follow you. Now, you can't just post once or twice or even as high as 8 to 10 times a month all the time, hoping and praying that people will actually remember you. And people, as in a lot of people, you may get a few, but that's not enough in real estate. You always got to have numbers, right? It's a numbers game. So you have to continue to post consistently so people can remember you. And this may take for some people a couple of years, or it could take a couple of as short as like 3, 4 months if you really drastically improve your frequency. Okay. So what is the real problem here? Again, when they don't have listings, agents completely stop postings. Now, again, I'm going to say this again. This may hurt for most agents, but really people don't care about your real estate content. They care about you, okay? Because at the end of the day, they talk to you and they try to understand what you do to help them get in or out of the house. It's not just the house. The house is the final product. It's that journey where people really want to, put their attention to an agent, not a house, okay? So they need to know that, hey, are you the person that they should know and trust to help you get into or out of the house? So we need reasons for this, and primarily there's going to be 5 pieces of content that work without listings. Now these 5 pillars are educational, behind the scenes, community, past clients or testimonials, and repurposing old content. So when we primarily talk about educational content, I like to use another word for this, which I didn't put up here for today, but it's called problem solving content. You guys necessarily don't help people buy or sell a house. What you sell is the emotion behind getting a house or getting out of a house. So there are problems, there are certain fears, there's certain needs, and there's certain desires that come with this for your clients. And it is your job to help understand, to help tell your audience how you help them overcome these feelings and what does your process look like. This is where educational content comes into hand. Now, this is one of the pillars. Behind the scenes is always great because if we want to see what's behind your whole process, the rawness, people actually appreciate that type of content. And always that content has been seen to get more engagement. Behind the scenes at open houses, behind the scenes at working, prospecting, let people see what your process looks like so you really look transparent and authentic. Community content. At the end of the day, we don't just buy a house, we buy a house in a community. Okay. So again, for someone like me, like if I was in a position to buy or sell, I would rather work with an agent who knows everything about New York, okay, or Jersey, or wherever it is that the person lives. They should know everything about their community. They, as in the agent. So posting about events, restaurants, businesses in the area, places people can go to. Past client wins or testimonials. Again, the best form of proof is by having a previous client, tell the new prospect what their experience was. So showcasing this visually, ideally video testimonials of the client are great. But if you can't pull that off, that's fine. If you can do at least the worded testimonials from Google, that works just as well. Yes, I know that's something that you see on a lot of realtor pages. Some things we have to do, guys, and you can't really make it more different rather than just the creativity and the style behind it. And then repurposing old content. A lot of people think once you post that particular type of piece of content, it's one and done and it's over. I don't want you guys to start having that mindset. If you have posted something in the past that has gotten good attention, always find ways on how you can recreate that. Whether that's a YouTube video broken down into separate reels, whether that's an Instagram post broken down into a tweet, whether that's an Instagram post broken down into a video, there are ways to repurpose, okay? Now, you don't need listings to show value. What you need is consistency because at the end of the day, listings are always like this for some agents, for most of the agents. It's very it's very low percentage of top agents are always having listings that are like this or like this. So with that being said, we need consistency in other pillars of content, and those pillars are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once we can master this, it's never about always have to wait for a listing. It's always about being on top of mind. That's the mindset shift we have to have. Okay. So just to give you guys a little bit more deeper example of what educational content looks like, right? Here's just one example of 3 mistakes buyers make in this market, or what's the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. Now, to take it a step further, I always talk about how you need to relate things to your area. Now, this is a version intro of community content, but what I would also add to this would be something like 3 mistakes buyers make in this market that we're in today in LA, for example, in 2025, if you want to go more specific. All right. Always the timeline specificity and the location specificity, even though the process might look the same all around the country, it's always good to always add that location and the timeline to it. Behind the scenes content. Come with me to a home inspection. What am I doing today to find my clients a home? You're giving people firsthand point of view experience of, hey, this is what I may do for you. So it really builds that authentic, like know and trust. It's not artificial. Community hidden gem coffee shops in X town, right? Or it could be about the restaurants in the area. It could be certain businesses you promote. At the end of the day, you're not only selling a house and the emotions, you're selling the community. So if you don't talk about the community, you're only selling part of your entire goal, which is not just the house, it's everything that comes around the house. Okay. Past client wins. This is AKA a little version of problem solving content. This is sort of like testimonials as well. Okay. You can definitely incorporate problem solving testimonials, where you can film a video of one of your clients and you can mention the video. Here's how I helped John, a first time buyer, save 10K in closing costs. Problem solving and also testimonial combined. Okay. Another example, biggest lesson I learned from this deal. You go right into it. So again, you're talking about the problems and what you would do in the future to solve that and correct it. Okay. We talked about repurposed content. I give you guys a few examples on that. Now, don't just limit yourself to platforms like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you have an idea where you want to go post it as a tweet, feel free to do that. Again, part of marketing is all about testing things, seeing what always works. And you should always continue to test more and more, because there are new ideas, new trends, new agents, new content always happening. And if you fall behind testing, you kind of stay stagnant with your progress over time. Okay. Now remember, virality is not the goal. What you're trying to be is unforgettable. There's 2 different things. Virality and unforgettability can kind of go hand in hand at times, but it's not necessarily, something that's viral typically might last for a few days or a few weeks, maybe a few months, if anything. A lot of agents try to force themselves to go viral, but the problem is if you do go viral and you don't have any other content to back it up to really show that like, know, and trust, nobody care. People care enough to not care more. Okay. That's a problem. So it's not about virality. Yes, you may go viral in between this, and it's not the bad thing. But if you don't have content to back up who you are, if you do go viral, that's worse than not going viral. Okay. So that's our goal. Remember this. I understand for most people the fear is looking inactive. You gotta solve this problem. And the typical way that I always recommend is batching content, because it's not about if you have listings or not. Okay. Again, we're all just told this quote, never judge a book by its cover, yet we always do that. Okay. And if you think that you're not posting listings and you're posting other stuff, people think you're not busy. That is not correct. Okay. If people are consistently seeing your content over and over again, they know you are moving. Okay. If you're posting pictures of the community, some houses here and there, some personal content, they know that that you as an agent is trying to interact and follow up with all of your followers, and they can understand that. It's not the immediate thought like, oh, I haven't seen a house that he posted in a while. That's not always the assumption. Okay. So let's break that myth of thinking, oh, if I'm not posting any listings, that means I'm not active. Okay. The worst thing you could do is be completely quiet on social media. And basically the assumption there, which is fair to have, is they think you're not really an agent anymore. Okay. Or that you're not producing at all. That's the worst. So what do we got to avoid? Posting memes or market stuff with no context, going radio silent like we talked about, reposting brokerage content, copy paste template captions that sound like everyone else. Okay. Now, I have no problem with posting memes. I think memes are a great way of being creative. But the problem with is people just post a bunch of random memes with no strategy, with no caption. It's kind of like a dead end at that point. So that doesn't help. All right. Posting market stats with no context, especially if you're not like incorporating that in a problem solving manner, or you're not talking about it educationally, it's kind of pointless. It's generic. It looks like everyone else. Going radio silent in between listings, we've covered that. Reposting brokerage content, okay? That is clearly the visual example of posting for the sake of posting. That no one will pay attention to because most brokerage content is also generic and vague. So if you're just going to do that, everyone's going to think you're just going to take the easy way out. And I'm not sure if you want to have that impression. I mean, if you do, then you can, but most people don't. Okay, so don't repost brokerage content here and there. Sure, it's just fine. Especially if it's like a big event where you guys celebrated something, then more than welcome to repost brokerage content. Okay. When you copy and paste templated captions, you sound like everyone else, and all of my channel is going to talk about how you're not supposed to look like everyone else and how to do that. So that's not going to work either. All right. Your biggest challenge. Now, before I get into this, I want you guys to know that if a lot of the concepts in this video sound a little bit like an information overload and you feel that some suggestions would help you on what you need to do, feel free to look at the link in my description and book a suggestions call. I can give you some specific advice on what you need to do or how you can implement this to your own marketing. So therefore, all of this just doesn't sound like a load of info. Okay. So my challenge for you is to pick one of these ideas and turn it into a post today. If you overthink, you are not marketing, you're wasting time and you're wasting money. And more importantly, there's an opportunity cost. If you keep overthinking, I want you to ask yourself this question. How much do you feel you've lost because of this overthinking? That number could be in the six figures for some people. That number could be five figures. Is it worth keeping that? Probably not. Okay, so don't overthink. Just right away, stay in motion, pick one of these things that I've given you and turn it into a post today.